Hello and welcome back to another episode of Waverly Zoo. Just keeping an eye on one of my bears here. Not sure what he's up to. Just chilling out. Right, so I hope you're well and thanks for tuning in. And let's crack on with today's episode. Oh, he's mummy or daddy. Ah, happy families. Right, so what are we doing today? I've already got started on this next project. Let's slowly work my way out there. So I wanted to do something quite big. I wanted to do some kind of a structure because I hadn't really done anything too over the top yet. So realistic but over the top. And so I've decided I want to do a reptile area, not a reptile house because it's not really a house as such. It's not a building, it's more of a canopy with various habitats within it and underneath it. So if I come up here, I will show you what I've done so far. Here we go. And let me tell you, this has taken me a long time. For anyone who has played around with the glass in this game, you'll know that trying to get the angles of all these pieces correct can be a bit of a nightmare. I mean, you can see if I try and sort of flatten the picture here, you can see these small pieces here at slightly different angles to the larger hexagon pieces. And yes, I know you only have to get a few correct and then you can just copy and paste, but just getting those few correct is very time consuming. I mean, it's rewarding once it's done. I'm really happy with this structure. I think it's realistic. I've seen large glass structures and they generally use this sort of hexagonal shape because it's quite a secure shape to use when it comes to glass. And I've put these support beams in. I think that's probably the correct sort of amount of support that they need. I don't know. I am trying to make this as realistic as I can, but with a structure this large, I'm not an architect. I don't really know what you would need to hold this up. But there we go. That's what I've gone with so far. So it's so far it's glass and wooden framework, and obviously metal beams concreted into the ground here. Obviously you can see my process over here. I've got a few of the spare panels sitting over here just in case I wanted to use them again. So here you can see where it is in my park. So out the back here. So my theory is that the habitats will be within this area, so in amongst all the beams here. I think I want to have some kind of a building in the middle with the keeper huts and a staff room in, and then that'll be, I think I'll probably make that out of bounds to the public, and then off of there will be all the entrances. So all the entrances will be around this middle area here leading into the habitats. And then there'll be some sort of public pathway around the outside or through the middle here somewhere. Maybe either down this bit or down this bit, with the habitat sort of on each side. So I guess the pathways are going to have to be raised. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. That's where I am so far. So far, this has taken me about 3 hours to build just this roof. Now you might laugh at that and you might just say, oof, I could do that in half an hour. You may well be able to. I struggled, but I'm really happy with how it looks in the end, as you can tell, because I just keep on zooming around it and admiring my handiwork. I don't think there's any shame in that. I think if you're proud of something that you built in the game, then why not enjoy it? So yeah, I am really happy with how this has turned out so far. I just hope now I can create a good area inside it or underneath it. So let me go away and come back once I've done a little bit more building. Okay, I've done a bit more. As you can see, I have put my little staff building in the middle. Still more detailing to be done on that, but the basic structure is there. And you've got the pathway around the outside, and then the pathway coming out here, joining into the main zoo over here. And then this will be gated off here. So this is only accessible for the staff, and then the public go up the ramps on each side, and I managed to fit this pathway perfectly in between these pieces. That was just pure luck that the width was correct for, I think this is an 8-meter path to go all the way down there on both sides, and it's raised up enough so that all the reptiles will be able to pass underneath. So my thinking here is that the habitats, the entrances will be here along this staff path, and they will stretch all the way out to this far support area here, and then so they'll all be sort of rectangular shape roughly. I'm not sure how many there'll be, maybe 5 or 6, depends how it shapes together as I go along. But what it means is that the public will be able to come up these paths, walk along here and look both ways, so they'll be able to see the animals on both sides of the pathway there. And it also means that I don't have to put shelters in every habitat, because they'll have natural shelter underneath the pathway, which is nice, because I'm not really keen on silly little fake shelters for a lot of animals. So if I can just use the natural pathway there, then I'm more than happy doing that. I've also put in this disabled access pathway over here. So this is for wheelchair access. I did that using the same technique as I did before, where you build individual pieces of pathway along at different heights, and then you link them up, and that creates a slightly smoother, softer slope. And obviously it needs lots of decoration, but it certainly does what I want it to do, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, so that's where I'm up to now. I think my next stage will be to start putting in, trying to shape out where these habitats are going to be, and actually having a look at what animals we can put in here as well. I'm thinking, what have we got? I know we've got 2 different tortoises. I'd like to get at least 1 crocodile in here, if not 2. I know there are 3, I believe, different crocodiles, or roughly crocodiles. I know they're not. There's oh, I don't know. You got the saltwater crocodiles, and then there's 2 others, isn't there? There's some little ones and another big one as well. What else have we got? I think the Nile monitor. I think that's something I'd like to get in, because I don't really know too much about them. I don't think I've done a habitat for them before. What else is there? Can't remember. We shall see. I will have to have a look through the list and start mapping it out a bit. So let me go away now and come back in a minute once I've done a bit more. Again, I have been busy. Let me show you where we're up to now. So you can see I've put in a staff gate here, and I have started on the habitats. I've done quite a lot of detail in the first couple here, and I've still got the others to do. So let me just show you what animals I've got. So in here we have the tortoises, the Aldabra giant tortoise. So they've got their little pond area there, and you know, their bedding and some toys and things all around the place. I've also done this. It's not actually practical in any way, but I have put these steps leading down into each habitat on the outer side of this walkway. The walkway itself has changed, as you can see. I've made it this nice wooden texture. I thought that looked a bit nicer than the tarmac. So yeah, I put these in because it would make sense for the staff to have multiple access areas to get into all of these different bits of the habitats. And obviously walking underneath here is not really practical at all, so there would be some kind of an access straight from this pathway down into here. And in fact, for some of the habitats. Potentially I may do a individual accent. Oh, it'd help if I could talk, wouldn't it? I may do extra access areas from this extra wall that I've put in at the back. You see I'll put this extra barrier wall around here. This is not the habitat barrier. This is the habitat barrier, this fence here. So we have the tortoises first. Then, I love these Komodo dragons. It's the first time I've had these in the zoo as well. Oh, look at that. They've got 2 footballs. I didn't mean to put 2 of them in there. Never mind. So the Komodo dragons are in here. And again, they've got their little water area here. Various bits of enrichment. And in fact, these guys have got a little cave. I put in just a simple little bedding area down here under the ground. Because I know Komodo dragons love rock. They love sitting on rock, so they can sit up here and sun themselves, and they can go down underneath and get in the shade. Then we have our crocodiles. So in here we have our 2 saltwater crocodiles, and so obviously their pen is largely water. I haven't done any detailing in the rest of these yet, obviously. So this is the one I'm thinking I may put an extra access door back here somehow, because obviously to get a large animal like these crocodiles into this habitat, you would not really be bringing them down here, down this small entranceway and through this little door. So I'm thinking there will probably have to be some larger gate, maybe in the back here somewhere. So I'll get to that in a little while. You can see I've put some trees dotted around all this area. I do want some greenery under here, and they would grow under here. Obviously this is only glass, so they would grow just fine under there. Then what do we have over here? These are the little Nile monitors that I mentioned before. I haven't done these before, so I've got 3 of them in this enclosure here. Again, lots of water for them. They've got 2 small water areas, and I will do various bits of foliage and maybe some sort of a shelter in there for them. I'm not sure about that just yet. Then we have our other tortoises over here. These are the giant Galapagos tortoise. So there's 4 of those in here. And then over here we have our final habitat, and this is the little dwarf caiman. So our tiny little crocs. I don't know if they are crocs, don't moan at me. I don't know if they're actually the same family, but they're pretty similar. So yeah, so we've got 2 of those in there, and again lots of water for them. So still lots to do, lots of detailing to do, but I just wanted to show you where I was up to so far. I think that is everything that I've done, so I will get on with some more detailing now, and I will be back in a minute. Okay, here we go. I've done lots more detailing. Let's have a look. What have I done? This building, I have just smartened it up a bit. Nothing too much really. Put some frames on the doors and the windows, and I've put these lovely white bits of brickwork on here, which do stand out a bit, obviously on the wood. So they're obviously sort of not necessarily fake, but they're not really there for a purpose. They are just there for the look. But I kind of like it, so I'm going to leave it. Quite, yeah, I like the contrasts there. So I'm happy with that. Then I have decorated our crocodiles. They didn't need too much really. Just some basic foliage. I don't want any of these places to be too crowded. So some pretty basic foliage in here. The obviously enrichment items for them as well. But yeah, very simple. I haven't done the access at the back here yet, but I will put it in here, I think. But I'll get to that because there's going to be some sort of an access road, I think, on the outside. You can see I've put these lamps all around the walkway here and around this area here. We have our, oh look, he's sunning himself just as I intended. So these are our Nile monitors. So I put them a little sort of platform here because they, again, these creatures, they love being in the water, but they like to sit out in the sunshine as well. So these guys can come up on top of here and sit in the sun, or they can swim around under all the foliage here. Again, lots of enrichment, lots of open area as well. And they have got another little pond back here with a rubber ducky and a few toys and things around. Really simple, these enclosures. There's really not a lot to them, but there doesn't need to be. That's exactly what these creatures want. They don't need anything too much. As long as they get food and shelter and a bit of entertainment, then they're generally pretty happy. And if they're happy, then I'm happy. Then I did put this extra bit of pathway in here. Again, in zoos you do see everything is connected. You see little access pathways and things all over the place. And I thought if the keepers want to be up here and then to be down here, they have to walk all the way around here. And realistically they would just put in a little ramp down here for much easier access. So that's what I did there. I was going to do one over this side as well, but there was nowhere that really suited because I don't know, the distance was a bit too much here. It just didn't feel right having another ramp. It looked a bit over the top, so I've just gone with the one here. Quite like these. I put these. These are meant to be hanging heat lamps in for the tortoises. As you can see, they work. I've made it so that the lights are on permanently. So the tortoises can climb up these rocks here and then come up and sit on the bedding and chill out in the heat from the heat lamps. I mean, obviously they don't, but that's what it looks like. So that was the intent and it works. So I'm very happy with that. These are pretty simple. I found these lovely sort of wooden structures. They're meant for, I think you hang the umbrellas, like shade umbrellas underneath them. So this is just a bit of rope and then an upturned pot and a light. It's very simple. But it looks pretty snazzy, I think. And again, just basic foliage around here, bit of decoration in the water. Obviously they don't swim, but they can come down here and get to the water at least so they can have a drink. I also put a couple of these heat lamps in the other tortoise pen over here, where I put the bedding down there and there, so they've got some heat lamps there as well. And then the last one with the dwarf caiman. I did quite a lot in here actually. I didn't like this end how it was, so I've built a sort of a step, a rock step here. So it's just a gradual sort of flow down into the water. Bit of foliage as well, just to blend it all in, make it look nice. Lots of reeds here and some of these lovely lilies. You can see the little caiman just hang around in the water here. They absolutely love it. It's perfect for them. And then over the back here they have their mud path, and a toy and a sprinkler and whatever that is. Another little one of their blood pumpkins. I've also put one of these in each of the pens. These taps. You see this everywhere in zoos. There's water access. All animals need water. Whether it's in this case it would be for filling up the mud bath, but they use it just to hose down the pen, sometimes to actually spray the animals. A lot of animals love being sprayed with water, so obviously a lot of animals need cleaning, so they use it for that. So I've put one of these taps, I think, in each of the enclosures. It's a bit of a game that you can play. Spot the tap. There it is. It's not the best game in the world. So yes, I like that. Just little touches of detail like that are pretty nice. I think that's all I've been up to for now. I'll put some lights along here as well on the wheelchair ramp. Obviously I will be covering up all this bottom area in the middle as well. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do next. And then there's going to be some sort of a backstage road, I think, coming off of here and going around here, leading to, I think this is the only pen I'm going to put an extra gate on here for the large crocodiles. I think all the rest of the animals are small enough that they would just be carried through the main entrances. I think the only other large ones we've got are the Komodo dragons, but even them, they're not that large. They could easily be carried in crates either through this door, or if not, actually through this larger gate and down the steps here. So I'm not fussed about any of the other enclosures, but certainly these crocodiles would have to be loaded in here through some sort of a van. rather than being they wouldn't carry them, I don't think, down here. I mean, they could do. I know they often transport these crocodiles. What they do, the most dangerous of a crocodile is their mouth. So what they tend to do is actually tie their mouths up, and it really doesn't distress the crocodiles at all when they do that. Crocodiles are very inactive creatures, as you can see. They spend half their lives, probably more than half their lives, just sitting still doing nothing. And so for transportation, they will often just tie their jaws up so they can't bite, and then they just pick them up. You know, someone lifting them by the jaw and someone lifting them by the tail, and they just carry them. Sometimes they carry them in big slings as well. I've seen that on. I watch a lot of nature documentaries and things, so I've got a little bit of sort of second-hand knowledge of animals and certainly things like this. I mean, some animals I've got a lot of knowledge of because I've had a lot of pets in my life, and I've spent my whole life around them. But obviously nothing like a crocodile. But I have seen them carry them around in large slings as well. But either way, I'm going to do an access back here. There's going to be some kind of a gate, I think, in that back corner there. So I've got that to do, and I've got this area at the front here to decorate a bit more as well. So I'll go away, and I may just be back one more time with the final result. So let me crack on with that. And here we are. I think I'm finished, and I'm really happy with the results. So what have I done? I've finished this area off at the front here. So this is our wheelchair access ramp. So you can see I constructed a sort of a concrete edge around both the inside and the out. Obviously most of this is now covered up, but you can see so that it looks like a nice solid walkway. I'm really happy with that. Obviously I've just gone with some basic foliage, so some hydrangeas around the front here, and then this side area is just a load of different bushes put together, just 3 different types I think. Just trying to make it look very natural and low maintenance. Pretty simple. Actually there's 4 different types in there, and a few rocks as well just to blend it all together. I've got a bit of an idea of what I'm going to do in this area here, which I will tell you about in a minute. Obviously just a few trees as well in the middle here. Didn't want to block the view. I originally had trees coming all the way around the front here, but actually when you approach from this angle, I want you to be able to see the structure, and you can see it perfectly here, poking out here and poking out above the trees. I didn't want too much more here to block the view, because it is a very impressive structure and it would really draw your eye. You would really want to go and check it out, wouldn't you? So that's my thinking there. And then this is my backstage area, and again I've got a bit of a rethink to do on this, but I'll explain what I mean in a minute. So you've got another staff gate here with the road. You can see this bit of stairway here I also blocked off with this this concrete, and this road goes all the way around the back here. Put a line of trees back here as well, and then I managed to construct this into our saltwater crocodile habitat. So I took a bit of fiddling around with the barriers because they're all connected here. There's lots of different bits of barrier all over the place, and I put a couple of these doors in. These are the what are they? The visitor doors, I think these are. Yeah, the guest gate. I didn't really care what they were actually meant to be used for. I want them to obviously create this this sort of porch. So if you were trying to bring an animal in here, you could get them into this bit, lock this door, bring them into here. Nice and safe, no chance of any animals escaping. So that was my theory there, and I'm really happy with how that has come out actually. Again, it was tricky because of the pathway. I had to manipulate the barriers around the pathway because these gates have to have path connected to them. I had to have them a certain distance apart because of the pathway as well. And then obviously out here the pathway is under here, so I've just put a big slab of concrete down and blended in the edges with some little bushes. Really simple, but it does exactly what I needed it to. and it makes sense. It's, you know, this is where your crocodiles are, so this is now how they would get in and out of their habitat. So yeah, really happy with that. I remembered about these being in the game, security cameras. So both these large ones on the poles and also the ones that go on buildings. So I have dotted some of those around in here. You can see up on the walkway here. There's 2 or 3 of them, and I have actually gone back through the rest of the park and put them dotted all over the place as well. I can't remember this. I mentioned this in the last one, but I did put gutters on this building in the center here. It wouldn't really get a lot of rain, obviously being undercover here, but it's, you know, if the rain was coming in the right direction from this angle over here, it may well get some. Plus I think the guttering just looks nice. Yeah, it's a little bit of whimsy for myself there. I just love the look of the guttering in the game. I think it's a really good system, how it all connects together. So I wanted to put guttering on, even if it's not that logical, but I like it, and that's what matters. So there we go. I think that was all I finished off. I mean, that took me a while. This gate bit over here, this was quite tricky to work out, and this bit at the front was quite time consuming. All the blocks here just takes a while, having to, you know, maneuver them in line with the path and all the different angles. You know, it just takes a while. So it's not complicated, but it is just time consuming. But the result is worth it. I hope you agree. I like it anyway. I think as a disabled access, I think that's pretty good. And it's something that I'm really enjoying doing in this zoo. It's something that I didn't do in Green Valley Zoo, which is my other zoo series, if you haven't seen it. Is these little touches of realism, like the disabled access. It's what you see in all modern zoos. I think by law, I think certainly here in England, I think disabled access is something that all areas of where the public are allowed to go. I think by law they have to make sure it's accessible to wheelchair users these days, which is really good, obviously. And it's something that I'm having fun actually fitting in to the habitats, having to think about the backstage areas, bits like this road. You know, I'm really enjoying planning out the areas. So I have got a few thoughts on that, which I will tell you about in a moment. First, I just want to get a nice aerial view of this habitat now, or these 6 habitats, I should say. And I don't know what you think about it, but I really like this. I think it is quite grand. It is a bit over the top maybe, but I think it works nicely. Obviously being reptiles, the idea is the glass would keep this area under here warmer, which is generally what reptiles like. And I think it just looks cool. I think it's realistic. I don't know if there's any architects out there and anyone who knows a bit more about it than I do, then please let me know if this is actually a structure that could exist in real life. But I like it, and at the end of the day this is a game, so I'm not too fussed if it's not 100% realistic, but obviously that is what I'm going for in this zoo, a bit of realism. But it is a bit different, and it's hard in this game coming up with different ideas for how to build habitats, so I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. Actually, it is quite unique, I think. And so yeah, let me know what you think. But just briefly, a few ideas that I've had of what I'm going to do next. It was while I was building this backstage area here, this road, it occurred to me that most zoos are very busy all day. They always have little cars and things zooming around, delivering food and supplies from one area to another. And it occurred to me that not all zoos have, obviously they all have large pathways like this, but they don't always use those for the accesses, or certainly if they had any choice they wouldn't. And obviously I've put in this small bit of extra road here, so what occurred to me is maybe down the front here, excuse me, I feel like I need to extend this area out this way, and then maybe have an entirely different path system in the game that isn't accessible to the public. So a separate pathway that comes off of here somehow crosses over the public pathway, and it's for lorries, vans, cars, buggies. You know, a lot of zoos use little buggies to wheel supplies around, and it would be for that. So it would be a whole system of pathways connected to bits like this, where I've got the road coming in here. So at the moment you've got a warehouse there with a door, so a little buggy could come out of there. It would come down this public area here and then turn in here, and supplies would be delivered here or in here. But what if you could avoid using these public pathways and have your own access road that comes in directly from here, maybe on a bridge over here, and then in the side here, and then branch off, come over here, somehow sort of wind your way around here, go up to there, then maybe around the back over to the penguins. I think that could work. So I'm going to look into that, I think, as my next bit of project. I'm also I mentioned this area in between the trees and the reptile area here. I want to have a river coming through here. I'm not sure, I may do a lake here somewhere with a river coming through. I think I'm going to have another small lake here, and then maybe the river will come off this way somehow. I'm not too sure yet. I just feel like this needs more water. Just makes it more interesting, spaces the zoo out, forces me to expand. So I think that's what I'm going to do. It gives me an opportunity to build some sort of a bridge here, and potentially, I suppose, more bridges maybe over this way somewhere for this path, and maybe if I do bring the road through, that would have to go over a bridge as well. I'm not too sure. We shall see. But that will probably be my next project. But for now, I think I will leave you with a nice aerial shot of my reptile house. So yeah, so there we go. It's been quite a long episode, this one. You can see it was quite a big build. It took me a long time. It's taken me a few days work to get this going, but I'm really happy with the result. So please let me know what you think. Any feedback is appreciated. I hope you've had fun. Maybe I've inspired you to build your own massive glass roof, and if you do, good luck, and be patient, because it will frustrate you, but it's worth it in the end. So thank you very much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye for now.